Welcome to the Empowerment Show with Melissa Heisler on the Linked Local Network. Link locally, connect globally.
And I won't tell you her name right off the bat, but I will tell you that back in the 1920s, she wanted to be a surgeon. And she went to medical school. She received her medical degree from Columbia University, College of Physicians and Surgeons. She completed her residency, and she set up a surgical practice in 1937. But it was not to succeed because the male doctors of the day would not refer their patients to a female surgeon. So the chief of surgery didn't really help or support her, but he suggested instead that she practice anesthesiology, which back then was considered nursing. It wasn't even considered to be a doctorate type of work in the medical field. But it got her out of his surgery department. He didn't need to deal with her, and she did end up working in anesthesiology. As well, she began researching and studying newborns, which, as you know, the mortality rate for newborns was not good. Babies were dying at birth quite regularly. And what happened, this doctor went on and on. I won't tell you the middle of the story. You can go and read that for yourself, but I'll skip to the end and tell you that she eventually developed a test that I believe you may have had at birth, and many of your listeners may have had at birth. It's called the Epcar test. And this test was named after Dr. Virginia Epcar, who nowadays every baby born in every hospital since the 1950s, every hospital around the world receives the Epcar test, all due to a woman, Virginia Epcar. And this really came to me, was called to my attention recently. Several women have mentioned this doctor, like, oh, I didn't know the Epcar score was from a woman. So that was back in the 30s, and the reason I mention this, as we're talking about the younger generation, one of the reasons I do want younger women to read their history as well as older women, because the women's history has really been kept from all of us. But we fast forward that story to 1969, and history repeats itself. And it repeats itself today, as you mentioned. There's still a lot of gender discrimination going on, and disparity. But in 1969, another young lady wanted to be a surgeon. She wanted to be a brain surgeon. Her college counselor told her that women aren't doctors, women are nurses, and he would not sign off on her pre-med courses. So this woman, by the name of Susie Orman, majored in social work. And we all know what she went on to do, but we don't know much about the gender obstacle that Susie Orman had to overcome. But she did overcome it, and that's the big point of my women's history, that all of these women did meet gender obstacles somewhere along the way, but they all overcame them and they did what they could. And young women can do it too.
I agree with that. It's kind of interesting, too, and I don't know the exact year, but I had another woman who was on the show, the Empowerment Show, who wanted to be a doctor as well and was told that women can't be doctors, and she ended up being trained in veterinary medicine, and then later in life did go back and get a chiropractic and applied kinesiology degree. And what is interesting, I think, about these three women in the medical profession was, even though they didn't take the direct route, they kind of got rerouted in what their passion was, they still had amazing contributions that actually they may not have had they not gotten distracted.
Join Melissa Heisler next week right here at The Empowerment Show on the Linked Local Network. Link locally, connect globally. Learn about the next show and listen to previous shows at linkedlocalnetwork.com/empowerment. Join the conversation at facebook.com/The Empowerment Show or twitter.com/Empowerment Show.